Good morning, Captain Greg DeBrule.
Good morning, CJ Adams.
What do you have? What do you have? What do you have in your hand right there?
I have a little squid jig.
Now, what do you got that for?
We're talking squid today.
Talkin Tackle, folks.
Calamari safari. Here we go.
I know we've talked squid before, obviously, but I think for the newcomers, we get the ideas from you guys. You guys tell us what you want to talk about. And squid is very popular.
We get so many requests for squid. I mean, you can only talk so much about it, but if that's... We must have got 200 requests in the past week about squid fishing. So if that's what you want to talk about...
I know a lot of you that are watching this and are going to watch this, a lot of you have the right tackle, the right jigs, the fluorocarbon. You do very well when the squid are biting. We know that, and it's very, very popular. So for the newcomers, if this is something you've never done before, or you just started following us and you want a couple of tips, that's what we're here to show you guys. And Greg's got the squid jigs. Now, they come in all various sizes. We like to think the big, giant squid that we catch in our area, and we get some nice ones. They, for some reason, like these small ones. And some, like Greg has in his hand, is weightless. That one's a floater. It's got a very small keel on it. This one I have has a much bigger keel on it, so it sinks a little more.
That's a lead weight, lead keel.
Keel, yeah, is a weight. And they say at times certain jigs make the difference. Now, I wouldn't go out and buy a whole bunch of squid jigs all the same color, because every night, from as far as you guys know, the colors are different.
It's a different color. We see people come on the boat and they've got 4 squid jigs, all the same color, trying to catch them. And I mean,
we've got the colors.
We've got every color imaginable.
I mean, you got a dark one. You got green.
And that's the beauty part of it. When you got, 50, 60 people on the boat and you got a variety, you see what catches, and then you try to change everybody over to that, or try to.
Yeah. And
not everybody does it.
So. Squid fishing, it's a lot of fun. It's relaxing. It's entertaining. A lot of laughs.
They certainly don't pull.
Well, you get a double header on, and
oh boy, you get that big bull on there.
Some of them do.
They still don't pull.
For what it's worth, everybody gets excited, and they think they got to set the hook. And now we got a couple of rods here.
This is some of the bigger ones, the bigger squid jigs. And like I said, we find overall, I mean, when they're biting good, when they're really biting good, it really doesn't matter. No, they're going to climb on. But when it's a little picky, and a lot of times it is, color and size makes a difference.
Certain stages of the tide as well. We obviously squid fish most of the time at night, but we've also done well during the daylight as well.
During the daytime. We try to get there a little early. And it's getting to be more and more popular. When we first started doing it, 7 years ago, there was nobody there.
And I'll be honest with you, we didn't really know, we had never done it before either.
We caught a lot of squid. I caught a lot of squid out in the canyon, not trying to catch them, while we're tuna fishing at night. But we never really targeted them. Well, we do now, and it's very, very popular. I think if we put a squid trip up, today's Thursday, for Saturday night, 48 hours from now, if we put a squid trip up on our website, we would fill it by Saturday, no question about it. It's that popular. So if you've never done it, I mean, they're great to eat.
The best. The freshest calamari you'll ever eat. People stuff it, they fry it, they saute it. It's top line, and not to mention it's your freshest fluke bait that you'll have for the whole year. A lot of guys do that as well.
They take the big ones and they freeze them up for fluke fishing or sea bass fishing, whatever, and they eat the small ones.
In fact,
everybody does it different.
In fact, us as mates and captains, we come out on the trips and we squid fish for our upcoming fluke season. So we always have the freshest bait.
Maybe you do.
You take them home and eat them.
I take them home and eat them.
But anyways, that's as far as the jigs go. I'll show you a rig here in a second, but I want to show you just a couple overall rods. Now this is we always use the J&B tackle, and again, they do some very nice work. This is a JB Custom, really light action rod. They say you can fight a tuna fish on this thing. Now, I don't know. I mean, a squid's good enough for me, but you don't want to overkill anything. This is a 6-foot rod.
This is top of the line you're looking at here. This is
Shimano Stratic.
This is not for everybody.
No, this is your highest end stuff. I mean,
what's the rod worth?
$600. I mean,
$600.
Little trout rod, $600 to a reel that's worth a couple hundred. Shimano Stratic. Now, this is your top end stuff. You don't necessarily need this. We just wanted to show you what you can purchase if you wanted to. Now you can
use it for a lot of different things.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
we've all used this particular rod this last fall here.
It's,
porgy fishing, sea bass fishing.
It's a beautiful rod, nonetheless. Beautiful
Not for
rod.
everybody.
No. But small reels, like a freshwater bass reel. Okay, that's what you really need. A spinning reel too. That's the best stuff for the squid. And a light action rod. This is just for example.
This is one of our rental rods right here. Just show them what we use.
Now
this happens to be a left-handed. We had it set up for left-handed.
Yeah, we swapped the handle over. A lot of people prefer them on one side or the other, and it's nice. You can swap them right over. But this needs some new line on it, and we'll get to that. But very soft tip. I hope everybody can see that tip going. Very, very soft. That's what you want for the squid.
That's for our rental rods. That's what we use. We use a spinning rod, Daiwa rod and reel.
Yeah.
And don't forget, one thing that we should say, they have good eyes. They can see. So we're using fluorocarbon on the jigs. And how low do you drop down? I mean, you ever go to 8 pound?
Yeah, we're using 6, 8, 10 pound fluoro. Sometimes when Greg was saying, it doesn't matter. When they're biting the bottom of the boat out, you can catch them on 40 pound mono. But like Greg says, big eyes, crystal clear night, clean water, the lightest fluorocarbon possible. Makes a difference. It does. We have we like to call squid ninjas and professionals that even on a picky night.
We do have some professionals. They bring their own lights. They strap them to the rail in front of them. Lights make all the difference in the world. A very dear friend of mine over there in Orient Point, who used to bluefish at night, saying the boat with the most lights wins.
Now, what do the lights do? The lights basically attract the bait. And what do the squid eat? The bait. And then they see this, which mimics the bait, and they come to the lights. So that's the benefit of having the lights. Underwater lights, we have it all. We set them up on the boat, and you know it's like daylight being out there. This is a general overall squid jig. This is what you want it to look like. Now, this is just 2 smaller jigs. Doesn't matter. This is just a demonstration jig. But back to what we talked about a couple series ago, the dropper loops. You got a dropper loop and another dropper loop. I demonstrated that. And you got a squid jig and a squid jig. Now, the distance between the 2 jigs, I like a foot, foot and a half. I don't want them too close because you'll end up tangling up. Then do your sinker. That also varies. The sinker down here at the bottom. Everybody can see that sinker. See, small sinkers. That's what you want to use.
That happens to be a 1 ounce sinker, but you try to keep it as light as you can. The whole system, okay. And keep it simple, stupid.
If you tie that sinker loop too close to your bottom jig, then it tangles up with the jig as well. So give yourself another foot-ish or more, 2 feet. A lot of guys tie their own stuff. Sometimes you see 4 or 5 squid jigs on a rig with a sinker down there 5 feet down because the squid bite in different various water columns. We like to think, and from previous experiences, I would say, they all start out on the bottom, from what I've seen. And as the night progresses, they come up in the water column. In fact, you can see them on the fish finder, on the machine, starting to come up. And then they come to the surface. And a lot of times you can literally drop the jig just out of eyesight and climb on doubleheader after doubleheader. You don't have to drop it all the way down to the bottom once it gets to
you see the squid darting in and out of the lights and everything. When it's good, they're right up in the water column, like CJ said, and you can see them darting in and out and everything. And
I would have to say it's probably the most fun trip that we put on overall. As far as entertaining, you see a lot of familiar faces. Guys are sharing food, having a good time overall. We go on calm nights. It's a lot of fun. And I will say this: last season we had a stellar squid fishing season. As you guys know, it lasted quite a while, and that was only because we had a cold winter. Now we've had an even colder winter, so depending on the water temperature, we're anticipating a pretty good squid season.
What if they don't show up at all? What are you going to tell them then? That it was too cold?
It was too cold. No, what the water temperature does, it drops, and sometimes the squid, they don't care about that water temperature. It's the predators. It's the predators that come and scatter the piles of the squid. So the warmer the water, that means your porgies, your mackerel, your sea bass start to show up, the striped bass.
The first things we see are probably the sea bass, the little sea bass, and it disrupts the whole cycle because once they start shagging them squid around and they start breaking them up, and then it's the beginning of the end. As soon as we start seeing the predators, the sea bass, the striped bass, a couple of bluefish,
In previous winter, as opposed to last winter and this winter, it's been warm relatively when we haven't had any snow. Nobody's ice fishing. So the water temperature started out warm, and the predators were right behind the squid within a week. So it was a tough battle on the squid in certain years. But man, this past season, I know guys came out and filled 5-gallon buckets and some in a couple hours. You know, and a lot of guys were doing that. This season, we're hoping, same concept. We got ice, we got snow, cooler water, and we're hoping that the squid show up just like they did last year. Because we're excited. We want to go fishing more than you guys do, believe me. But we're starting out with the porgies and the squid. Porgies by day, squid by night. So if you don't have your squid jigs ready yet, you could either purchase them from us on the boat, but I recommend getting some yourself at the local tackle shops, online. But make sure you stay small. Jigs.
We carry, just so you know, we carry everything you need to have on the boat, the sinkers, the squid jigs, every color in the world, every kind, every size. So, you know, but you're more than welcome to bring squid jigs with you, but we've got everything if you need it. And
so if you're in the market for a squid rod, like I said, keep it simple. Small, light action rod, freshwater rod, 6 foot, 7 foot, something like that. I mean, everybody has their personal preference, but small reels, go with the spinning reels. Those are the best. Don't bring out your striped bass beef stick with your Pen 4 on it, because it's just not going to work. You need the light tackle, light action stuff. That's the best thing to get these squid coming. And a lot of times, all you're feeling for feels like a wet piece of toilet paper or seaweed on the bottom of your
feels
rib.
like a sock.
Yeah, and they don't fight hard, and people get so excited. They set the hook like they're tuna fishing. You'll rip those tentacles right off, and you'll struggle with it. It's a graceful fishery. Nice and easy.
Lifts, gentle
small,
lifts.
Soft jigs, and then just all you're doing is slowly reeling. It's the easiest fishing trip I think we do as far as the porgy fishing in the spring. And like we said, it's a lot of fun. Do we have any questions or comments, Greg? Can you see that thing right there? If you got any questions, comments, guys, feel free. You want to say hello, don't hesitate to ask.
No, just everybody saying hi.
Good. Well, hi, guys.
Roland, Michael. I can't see anymore.
Hope everybody's having a safe, happy winter. It's almost over, I think. Maybe one more snowstorm. But I think Captain Greg wanted to finish off. I know we've had a lot of comments and questions about fish stories. And we could tell some fish stories for days.
Oh, my God.
Days.
I could write a book.
So I think Greg's going to finish off this with one little quick fish story. And
you know, we talked about wireline fishing. And wireline fishing, without a doubt, I was just talking to Carrie Doughton from J&B Tackle this morning. Wireline fishing is the most sophisticated fishing that we do. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of the smaller boats and private boats and, you know, skiffs and stuff don't do it, because it is a little complicated. There was nothing more complicated than the pollock fishing in the spring with the downrigger balls and trolling. That was it.
what year are you going back?
Oh God, we're going back into the
it was before my time. I was a
early
kid,
80s.
I believe. Yeah.
You were still
young.
You were still crapping in a diaper.
Probably.
You know.
Probably.
But anyhow, that was the toughest fishery that we do. Okay, without a doubt. And we used to be pretty good at it. It was dominated by just a handful of boats. A couple of boats at Point Judith, myself, the Anna R out of Noank. And one of the reasons we did so well at it is because we had so much practice wireline downriggers with the balls in the race. And that was the prelude about going to Block Island, where there was less current and everything else. But we really, without blowing it up, we really dominated the pollock fishing. So we're fishing. It's just a quick funny story here, because I remember it like it was yesterday. I can't remember what I ate last night for supper, but I remember this stuff. We're fishing under Southeast Light. Kenny Broder, if you listen to me, Kenny Broder was a mate at the time. He is now the owner of Striper Snacks. He makes the lures. So Kenny, if you're listening, you remember this one. We're fishing under Southeast Light in June. Flat ass calm day. Not the best fishing conditions. Flat, calm, bright sunshine. Not the best. We're trolling. Fortunately, I didn't have to share it with anybody. The Anna R wasn't there. Andy on the Misty wasn't there. It was just me and two small charter boats from Point Judith. I won't even mention their names. And we struggled. It was a struggle. It was a struggle to catch what we caught. We ended up with, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 pollock and a dozen codfish, but it was a real struggle. Well, the other two boats that were there, they didn't catch them. If I got to struggle, they ain't catching them. I'll tell you that right now. one of the tips was on the rods that we used, and we didn't use monofilament line. We used wire line on the downrigger, on the reel that we used for the downrigger. Why did we use that? When you use mono, it lifts the downrigger ball off the bottom while you're trolling. The wire line didn't do that, okay? A lot tougher to use, but it was one of the many things. So anyhow, we're struggling under there, and we finally get to the end of the trip, and fortunately, we did as good as we possibly could do. Not that it was up to our standard, but I fortunately didn't have to share it with anybody. If I did, if the Anna R was there, we'd have cut that in half. He'd have had half, I'd have had half. So the customer, who I remember distinctly, I won't say who it is. I don't want to get somebody calling me. He says to us at the end of the trip, we're just getting ready to go, and he says, "Greg, there any bluefish around?" I'm like, "Oh shit! Are you kidding me? I got a splitting friggin' headache." Kenny doesn't want to go, and I call Kenny up and say, "Kenny, we got to go check a few bluefish." Is that for you?
It's for you, actually. No.
So I tell Kenny, I said, "Listen, let's run out to what's called the Camelback. If anyone's familiar with Block Island, little rock pile, 56 feet away. It's the only place there was any bluefish." The other two charter boats from Point Judith had already left to try to go out there to catch a few little red cod before they go in on a not so good trip. I run out to the Camelback. We're just getting ready to set them in. I turn the Simrad machine on, and the entire pollock run of the season was there. I told Kenny, I said, "Kenny, drop the balls." We slaughtered them for about an hour, up and back. The My Joy was there with my dear friend Charlie Burgess was running it, and he was anchored up near us, and he was trying to cast a jig to him. He couldn't make it. He was short. He couldn't get to him. The other two party boats, little charter boats from Point Judith are there, and I'm trolling up in the middle of them, and Kenny Broder's in the back with those gaffs. Whap, 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 three-bagger. They can hear him slapping on the deck, set him in again, turn around, go back over him. I told Kenny, I said, "Kenny, how long you think it's going to be before them two charter boats pull up their anchor and get the downrigger balls?" Okay. We caught another 35, 40 big pollock. Now, these are big. These aren't the small ones.
We see a lot of the smaller ones.
These are 20, 30-pound slobs. And so we ended up with a banner trip. We didn't catch any bluefish. Didn't need to. We went in. That night, I get a phone call from one of the boats from Point Judith. Never met the guy before. And if you're listening, you know who I'm talking about. And he says to me, he introduced himself, never saw him before. He said, "Listen, I'm so sick and tired of taking this shellac." And he said, could you at least help me out? And I gave him a lot of credit. I gave him a lot of credit for having the balls to call me up and introduce himself and ask for a little bit of help, which I gave him, And it worked out good. He eventually ended up catching a few in the weeks to come and everything, But that was pollock fishing. It was intense. I used to have, and I'll end it with this, if you've all watched the movie Apocalypse Now, when the helicopters were charging in and they played that music, dun, 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 I used to have an 8-track tape. And we knew when them pollock were going to bite. They bite on one particular rock pile, and then 45 minutes, an hour later, they'd shift over a half a mile to another one. And of course, we're fishing every day, so we had an advantage over anybody else. And we knew where they were going to bite. Well, you get on a weekend where there's 40, 50 boats there, and only 2 or 3 are catching them.
Boy.
When I knew they were going to bite, I plugged the tape in.
That's pretty good.
And I broadcast it on the PA, and every boat there heard that. And they hated it. They hated to hear that music because they knew they were going to take it on the chin. That's all there is to it. They were going to take it on the chin. And God, I absolutely loved it. I wish all the fishing we did was as intense and tough as the pollock fishing. It would be a lot less fish caught. But, today with the days of plotters and GPS and spot lock and everything else. Holy Christ. It's a different fishery.
Day, yep.
It's a different fishery. Anyhow, I remember that one of many, the glory days. Anyhow, Thanks, folks. Hope you learned a little bit about squid fishing. Okay, we'll see you in the spring. We're getting ready to go.
We're going to we'll be talking tackle again next week. And you got any tips, topics you want to hear about? We are going to be cooking at some point. I don't know, but we will be sure to let you know. Roman, you're right. It was the gentleman calling him. It was. I see the comment.
Oh, did really comment? Yeah, I don't want to mention names.
No. Roman, we're just kidding. It wasn't him, Roman. But guys, take care.
Okay, take care, folks. We'll see you. Okay, have a great weekend. Take care.